Working in the margins. Dealing with our challenges, assessing needs, and finding solutions. Short-term, mid-range, and long-term. Solutions can find us working in the margins. Today's world is a tough baseline. It's more difficult than ever to just exist or get by. And it's not getting any easier. Moving forward in today's world has become both an art and a science. Food, clothing, temporary shelter, long-term housing, short-term jobs, temporary employment, or long-range careers. It all takes some help and finesse. Not everyone can do it. It's an art and a science. And let's face it, not everyone is a scientist. Some people need more help than others. The basics like reliable transportation, internet, laundry, a regular shower, even water, those basics we all take for granted. Electricity, these are the challenges of those caught in the net. Are homeless, unhoused, housing challenged, living in the margins. People of all ages, young, middle-aged, senior citizens, entire families, male, female, all reasons and all walks of life. Anyone can find themselves living in the margins. Homelessness and the challenges that go with it are not going away, and we can't ignore them. It's just too expensive. We've got to do better. Take the next step forward. Tune in now and listen to Working in the Margins with Zazetta Scott.
Good evening, Inland Empire. Welcome to Working in the Margins. I'm your host, Shazette, and I will be meeting and having conversations with San Bernardino County community leaders about our unhoused and marginalized San Bernardino County citizens. I will be giving updates about the effectiveness of the advocacy work being done in San Bernardino County, and what more can we do together to improve our service to these marginalized citizens. The call-in numbers for tonight are 909-792-5222. If you want to call and chat with me, 909-792-KCAA, toll free, 888-909-1050. Would love to hear from you. Today happens to be California Public Radio Day. So this is the day that California observes the work of public radio here in the state. So congratulations to public radio. A few announcements. I met this awesome outreach group called Hope Culture. Isn't that a cool name, Hope Culture? And they are having Colton Community Outreach this Saturday at Cesar Chavez Park at 5 p.m. There'll be music and food and it'll be a good time, games, and there'll be a speaker who is actually a reformed ex-hitman from the mafia. So I think I'm going to go find out what he's talking about and what he's doing in the community, that he's a successful tale right now. So I also have on Saturday, September 7th, there's going to be a youth advocacy summit. It's sponsored by the San Bernardino County Youth Advisory Board. They're partnering with IEHP and Family Assistance. It's going to be at San Bernardino Valley College. The flyer says, join us for a day of inspiring keynote speeches, interactive workshops, and panel discussions led by youth. Eloise ASM Reyes, Eloise Reyes will be there. ASM member James Ramos, they are the keynotes. And then there's Miss Chavette Marshall. She's going to be giving a talk also as well. So stay tuned for that. If you want to reach out to me about the more information, 909-908-8053. I think there's 150 spots for 14 to 24-year-olds. So if you got a kid that you want to learn about advocacy in the community, hit me up and we'll get them enrolled for that summit. So today I am meeting, I get to meet and talk to Oscar Lobos of Open Arms. He is the shelter he is the drop-in center manager there. He works for Family Assistance. We have a drop-in center there. It's right here in San Bernardino on 7th off of Arrowhead. And Caitlin Kotzman, who is the shelter manager for the only LGBTQIA transitional shelter here in San Bernardino County. So I get it. I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to let Oscar tell you about himself, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about Caitlin. Caitlin is, like I said, she's the shelter manager of Welcome Home. She's been working there since it opened in December of 2022. She's a recent CSUSB alumni. Go Yotes. That's why I had to say that. She's graduated with her bachelor's in communication studies this past May, and we are very, very proud of her. And are they on the line? Hello?
Hello.
Oscar? Hello. Oscar? Caitlin?
Hi.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
How are you?
Doing wonderful.
Awesome.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm so glad that you were able to come on. We're going to chat. I got some questions for you. You're going to inform me as well as our San Bernardino community. And so there's three of us talking, so I'm going to manage this the best I can. And if you hear me start to throw to a commercial, it'll be like a minute before it. So so you save your good thoughts, and I'll say, we're going to come back and talk about that. So first, let's start with Oscar. Oscar, tell me your story. How'd you get, I know you graduated from Cal State San Bernardino. What was your degree in? And then how did you end up at Open Arms? How did you end up as a shelter manager?
Hello, everybody. So I'll give you, a very brief background. So I got into advocacy with a family assistance program right after college. So I started at the youth shelter, Our House, I forgot his name for a second, worked there for a couple of years, went to Open Arms, and then came back, helped start off the first LGBT shelter, emphasis on the first and only right now, and I hope that changes soon. But starting Welcome Home, pioneering that as a shelter manager, and then coming into Open Arms as the program's drop-in center manager. I manage 3 pay shelters, Welcome Home, and 2 shelters for Open Arms. My bachelor's is in communications, again, yo-yos, as well. So me and Caitlin have that in common.
Awesome.
And yeah, I'm just really excited to be here.
All right. Well, thank you again. Caitlin, tell me, what is your why? Why do you do this work?
I really fell into this work by chance, and as being somebody that's part of the LGBT community, I've seen the direct impact that these individuals face and the support that's needed. So when I got the opportunity to be able to advocate for them, I hopped on it, and I fell in love with advocacy.
That's awesome, and you're great at it. Oscar, tell me, what inspires you to keep advocating for marginalized populations?
So I think that for a lot of us that get into this work, we come in it with that lived experience, and it's a beautiful, tragic story about how an individual turns their pain into medicine. So I grew up, I was one of the overlooked homeless youth that was couch surfing at friends' houses for years, living without utilities, living with cockroaches and all, the whole nine. So being able to work with this population as somebody that did not have said resources when I was a youth, it really does put that, just that projection of being that person that you needed at that time.
Awesome.
So really just connecting with them.
Awesome. I want to ask you, because I know sometimes we try to stay away from what traumatized us in the past. And you have not done that. You and Caitlin kind of have run into the fire. You are helping other people who have gone through trauma like you have, or marginalization like Caitlin expressed. How do you do that every day? Either one of you.
Part of that, I'd like to go for I think being a part of the community, it's really charging. I think that before Welcome Home had even been conceptualized, it was that knowing of the need that in this county, the largest county in the country, that there is no LGBT shelters at all for any demographic. You would think like things like Palm Springs, but it really comes down to funding. So being able to be a part of that is what charges it for me.
That's awesome. Caitlin, tell me how do you keep doing this? Working with these, this is difficult sometimes. Sometimes you see people who've gone through things that you've gone through. How do you help them overcome what you've already overcome?
I think the same thing that Oscar said, just really realizing that there isn't a whole lot of support, especially here in San Bernardino County, and a lot of that is very surprising, us being the largest county, but we just have to continue to be there and be a support and be able to work with these individuals past those issues and toward greatness. That's
awesome. So, Caitlin, tell me about Welcome Home. What does it? Who qualifies? Who can get in? How do they get in? How do they get in touch with you? How do they, what? And once they're there, what do they? What are their expectations?
Yeah, absolutely. So Welcome Home, as we said, is the only LGBT shelter here in San Bernardino County. We currently have a 7-bed facility located in the city of San Bernardino, and we run a 30, 60, 90-day shelter out of that facility. We're able to have on-site staff that work directly with our clients on an individualized case plan, being able to get them from that cycle of homelessness onto their feet, either into a shared housing aspect or into individual independent living. And so who qualifies for our program is going to be our 18 to 24-year-old individuals that identify as part of the LGBT community and are in need of housing. We don't have any other qualifications other than that. So getting into our program is very low barrier, and we encourage people to get added to our wait list, which we've been working off of since day one.
That's great. I love to hear first, because that means that others will come. I think
absolutely
that if Welcome Home is the gold standard of how we treat and manage our LGBTQ clients that need that type of what type of services can you help with? What type of services? I know that you help with gender care. So tell me what services can a young person get with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So gender affirming care, we provide first and foremost that safe space for them. We provide name change support. So if they're looking to get that done, we provide them with all of that name change documentation. We get them connected with hormone therapy if they are looking to transition. And ultimately, we just provide them with that ability to be themselves in our space.
That's awesome. Do you help with employment or school or anything like that?
Yeah, so Family Assistance Program has employment specialists and financial advocates that work alongside our youth to be able to get them settled and working on those life skills that are essential.
Thank you. Thank you, Caitlin. We're going to take a break right now, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Oscar about Open Arms, and then I'm going to pick up the conversation with Caitlin about some of the things that are going on with Welcome Home right now. And we'll be right back.
One of the best ways to build a healthier local economy is by shopping locally. Teamster Advantage is a shop local program started by Teamster Local 1932 that has brought together hundreds of locally owned businesses to provide discounts for residents who make shopping locally their priority. Everything from restaurants like Corky's to fun times at SB Raceway and much, much more. If you're not currently a Teamster and you want access to these local business discounts, contact Jennifer at 909-889-8377, extension 224. Give her a call. That number again is 909-889-8377. 8377, extension 224.
All right, San Bernardino County, we're back. I'm Shazette. This is Working in the Margins, and tonight I have Caitlin Kautzman and Oscar Lobos from Family Assistance Program. They are youth advocates, LGBTQ advocates. So I left off talking to Caitlin about Welcome Home. Oscar, I want to ask you about Open Arms, and then the questions after that will be about to you both about your programs and some trends and challenges. So Oscar, tell us about Open Arms.
Yeah, so Open Arms was our first youth drop-in center down here in San Bernardino. I know that advocates from our house that were working with me at the time branched off and they pioneered it. And it has since enveloped into this wonderful drop-in center where a youth from 14 to 24 can come in, receive wraparound services, being followed up with, and making sure that we're helping at-risk or homeless youth or substance-dependent youth or with mental health and things of that nature, as well as providing basic resources. So we have staff on site that are willing to work with youth on various capacities to help them get into systems that help them be more financially stable.
Oh, that's awesome. So I'll tell you, I have a strong love and affinity for Open Arms because when I started with Family Assistance 1 year ago now, that's where I started at Open Arms. And I was so terrified because it was like, okay, it's kids. And they're young, and I'm like, my kid is 31, and I'm like, okay, I haven't really messed with kids in a minute. Let's see how this goes. I fell in love. Every kid I met, I wanted to take home, but I know you can't, But how, Oscar? Tell me, what do you create? What are you trying to create as far as advocacy and support for these very, very marginalized youth? They're poor, they're homeless sometimes, they're drug addicted, they're justice involved. What are you trying to create? What culture are you trying to create for them at Open Arms?
Beautiful question. I think at the crux of it is being a safe space for all youth that come into our doors, meeting them where they're at. So when we work with the substance-dependent youth, we understand that it is a journey for them through their trauma, through their lived experiences, and often there is an ebb and flow of wanting to be sober or not, and irregardless being there, just being present for the youth and being resources for them, such as peer advocacy, having one-on-one conversations with them. Again, we have a substance use counselor on site.
Awesome.
Which is amazing. Being able to handle.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Caitlin, so I know you're young and you don't have your own kids. I think we all have pets. But you don't have your own kids. How, because I know what it takes sometimes, how do you foster trust and with youth and kids that are sometimes close to your age, but they've had completely different experiences that have led them to your shelter? How do you do that? Because sometimes you got to be mama, you got to have that maternal stuff, or dad, You tell me how you work that into your program.
Absolutely. So, having the support of my advocates alongside myself is ultimately how I'm able to build rapport with the clients and be able to build that trust. And so we're able to work just hand in hand with them, and they have more than just myself as a support system, which is amazing.
That's awesome. You guys are doing such great work. Tell me, Caitlin, what are some misconceptions about the community that you serve?
I would say some major misconceptions is that, we're non-existent when we're very much so here, and we're very much so a part of the community, and we make up a large portion of the homeless population. And so just like I would say, our biggest misconception would be that we have that support when we really don't.
Okay. Oscar, you have your drop-in center caters to a lot of homeless youth. Tell me, what factors contribute to the homelessness of the youth that are coming into your drop-in center?
That's a beautiful question. I would say definitely the socioeconomic climate. It's no coincidence that San Bernardino, a city, is one of the poorest counties around, as well as it being composed of a lot of individuals of color. It is no coincidence in my eyes that this is how this kind of systemic stuff is meant to just keep people in this kind of oppressive or financially dependent culture. I think there is a lack of education as well as resources in general.
Do you see a lot of generational homelessness, generational poverty?
Yes, very much so. And, I think that when people talk about millennials and us being one of the biggest populations around and not wanting children often being a part of that, a lot of it comes down to that socioeconomic strain. It's that even if we make above minimum wage, it is hard to keep yourself afloat, and that is being somebody that is gone through the system with, say, relatively supportive factors around them versus somebody that hasn't. So we couple that with each other, and then it really just kind of circumvents the cycle.
Right. You stated that you manage Tay Homes. You have two other Tay Homes outside of Welcome Home. Tell me who qualifies for the Tay Homes.
Oh, perfect. Anybody that is 18 to 24. This one is not gender, sexual identity specific. It's anybody that is at risk or homeless. So things that would be like quantifying at risk. Couch surfing a friend's house is because they have nowhere to stay.
Okay.
Because we may have lost their job. We might be living in our car.
Okay. Do you have a phone number for someone to contact you, Oscar, if they need any type of the services from Open Arms?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can reach two numbers. So if you want to reach my work phone number and have that direct conversation, you can call me at 909-351-8410. Our Open Arms drop-in center line is 909-571-5659.
That's awesome. Thank you. I'll probably have you repeat that again at the end. What do you need from the community? Both of you, take your turns, to ensure the people who qualify for your programs get access. How can the community help you?
I'll go ahead and start with that. Our biggest thing is, just having that support. So getting that out there that we exist. So just making sure that we are building relationships with our community, as well as getting donations when possible. We like in-kind donations. We take those over at Welcome Home and Open Arms.
That's awesome. I know that you recently had a Pride festival in San Bernardino, and it's one of the only ones that really, I think you partner with some great organizations to do that. How'd the last one go over the summer?
It was amazing. It was something that happened in our conception year of Welcome Home that I had been a part of a lot of community events at Open Arms when I had started doing community outreach a while back now. And I loved making the community events. So being able to partner with the Parks and Rec Department of San Bernardino, thanks to a warm handoff from Rainbow Pride Youth Alliance, was really the kind of inception era of this concept of having a Pride. Being able to have that backing from the city was wonderful. And the first year, we didn't expect it to be as amazing as it was, and the second year, even more so. It's really thanks to those sponsors and the community partners for coming in. My favorite part is watching the youth with their waving their rainbow flags. It is everything to me.
That's awesome. I love that. Do you need more partners? Do you need more partners in the community to come alongside and support you all? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You too, Caitlin?
Always. We would always love more partners, always would appreciate the support.
Okay.
It takes a collective. It takes us
It
working
does.
together to make this work happen.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can't do anything by ourselves. We can't. And it's vitally important always, but I think that we have the attention of the nation right now on topics around inclusivity and what it means to be inclusive and what it means not to judge or marginalize community members or populations that we may not, I don't identify as part of the community, but I'm an ally. I've always have been. My job is to support and to protect the members of the community, all marginalized communities. So it's not a matter of, I don't get on with LGBT. If that's not your life, that's not your life. But you should always want to support the rights of people to be and to be safe. The population LGBTQ is the most harmed population out there. It's, how do you, Caitlin, you tell me how an example of how someone under your care ended up on the streets. Tell me a story. Tell me something.
A lot of the individuals that I serve, are throwaway youth is what they would refer to them as, which is that the parents are not accepting of them and they end up having to leave the home because they don't feel safe, or the parent ends up kicking them out.
Right. Is it religion? Is it just, I guess as a parent, I could never imagine any reason that I would not want to know my child. But I know that happens.
Yeah, I would say it's a bit of religion. It's a bit of ideals. It's something that I think a lot of people struggle with, and if they have these ideals that they don't agree with, so they struggle with accepting their children.
Yeah, it's just sad.
Enculturated.
Yeah, it's sad, but what makes me happy is that Family Assistance Program has dedicated its work to protecting the LGBTQIA population by creating this program, the drop-in center for kids, who might find themselves on the outside and not have a place to go. I know what you provide at the center as far as, services and food and life skills and things like that. And it's unfortunate that the kids, they're not in the homes to learn this. The parents have, sometimes it feels like the parents gave up on them, and they just send them to the center, or they send them out, and they don't want to be bothered with them. But we want to be bothered with them, don't we? Because we are. That's right. Thank you so much, both of you, Oscar Lobos and Caitlin Kautzman from Family Assistance Program, LGBTQIA Welcome Home Transitional Center, and Open Arms Youth Drop-In Center right here in San Bernardino. San Bernardino has jewels in their community that they often go unrecognized, but I wanted to make sure that I recognize you today for doing the work. I need a quote. Either one of you or both of you. Give me a quote about something how you approach this work. Either one of you or both.
I've got a quote.
I do too.
My quote is, "Equality means more than passing laws. The struggle is really won in the hearts and minds of the community where it really counts."
Deep. I'm snapping.
Yeah. Yes, snap.
Oscar, what's yours? Come on.
My quote says, "We must always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented."
Amen. That's awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you. I will see you around the block. Your community appreciates you. Thank you so much again. Have a great evening.
Thank you for
as
having
well,
us.
Shazette.
All right, take care. All right, we're going to go to commercial. And when we come back, we're going to talk to Shannon Waldron from High Desert Homeless Services.
Tahibo Tea Club's original Pure Pal Diarco Super Tea helps build red corpuscles in the blood, which carry oxygen to our organs and cells. Our organs and cells need oxygen to regenerate themselves. The immune system needs oxygen to develop, and cancer dies in oxygen. So the tea is great for healthy people because it helps build the immune system. And it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. The tea is also organic and naturally caffeine-free. A 1-pound package of tea is $49.95, which includes shipping. To order, please visit TahiboTeaClub.com. Tahibo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E, B like boy, O, then continue with the word tea, and then the word club. The complete website is TahiboTeaClub.com. Or call us at 818-610-8088, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. California time. That's 818-610-8088, TahiboTeaClub.com.
Good evening, Inland Empire. Welcome to Working in the Margins. I'm your host, Shazette Scott, and I'm having conversations with some folks in the community about the marginalized populations that we serve. And tonight I have Shannon Waldron from the High Desert. Great. Shannon?
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Okay.
Good, you're on. I'm going to turn you up in my ear a little bit so I can hear you. Hold on. Okay, perfect. How are you?
I'm doing good. A little nervous I messed stuff up, but I guess not.
You're fine. Thank you so much for coming on. And I think I've like conflated all your positions and things that you do because you are you've done a lot and you've held positions, you've run shelters. So currently, I know that Shannon is with the Family Assistance Program, and she's the program manager of the High Desert Coordinated Entry System Hub. And previously, Shannon, you ran the High Desert Homeless Shelter, correct? Tell me about how long.
The Interim Wellness Center.
Right. Tell me about how long you ran that and what was your experience there.
So I was there 2 years. I started in as the housing navigator with when it was Illumination Foundation. And after only a couple months, they left, and I got made the site manager, program director. So for about a year and a half, I ran the interim site until they moved to their permanent site.
That's awesome. So I'm going to go back. I want you to go back a little bit. I want you to tell me a little bit about you and your history. Couple of sentences, and then I want you to tell me your why. Why are you doing this work? This hard work. It's hard work, huh?
It is. It's definitely worth it, though. I come, from a broken home, a lot of childhood trauma. I was homeless as a youth. Had a mom that struggled a lot with substances. So, that doesn't always make for an effective adult. I tried really hard to be something opposite than her. But I did at some point find myself in 2010 homeless as an adult, and that's how I found out about a family shelter. So after I left there, I volunteered there for a while. Then I joined the board. And then an opportunity became available to do coordinated entry with 211 for the desert. And that's when I started actually working for nonprofits, like being on payroll for nonprofits. So I did coordinated entry there for almost 2 years when I moved over to the interim shelter.
Awesome. That's wonderful. So you've been doing this quite a while. So tell me, when you were at the interim shelter, what was a day like? Tell me, like, what was a day? People came in, where did they come from? Tell me what that was like.
So at the interim shelter, we were low barrier, which means there were just about anybody was suitable. So most of the residents that I had struggled with substance use, struggled with untreated or undiagnosed mental health. We were on our toes a lot of conflict resolution. We did a lot of peer support with them. Most of my staff, and myself included, had been in some of the same situations they had. So through lived experiences, we were able to help, even if it was just to learn how to make their bed or wash clothes.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to show them that, sometimes they come to you and they've lost those skills, or they haven't had to practice those skills, and they have to relearn those skills. So that's awesome that you had that service and that you took the time to work with them. Tell me, how is the program going with how was the transition going between the interim shelter and then the transition to the wellness center in Victorville? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I didn't stay on. A new organization came on board when they transitioned to the new wellness center. They are able actually to house a lot more individuals. I could only house 92 where I was at, and the wellness center campus now can hold 149 individuals and 7 families, so upwards of 170 individuals. They have licensed, they have LVNs there. They have nurse practitioners. They also have mental health nurse practitioners there. They have medical staff on site there to help people with any of their medical needs, prescriptions, things like that.
Okay.
It's turned into a very robust program over there now.
That's amazing. So I probably know too much to make trouble, sometimes, but I know that that the shelter accommodated families, and that the wellness center has just started taking in family, and it's only been 8. What has happened? What are you seeing in the field, in the streets, with the families that haven't been able to access shelter?
Yeah, so when High Desert Homeless Services, the family shelter, had to stop services, I have, it's upwards of 89 families I've come across for the first quarter that have been staying either in cars or encampments that needed emergency solutions for shelter and had nowhere to go. I mean, the 7 pods at the wellness center is definitely helpful, but that's only 7. We need something for the other families in
What do we
need.
need, Shannon? What do we need?
I'm sorry?
What do we need?
We
We talk
we
about
need,
this all the time. What
yeah,
do we need?
we need we definitely need another family shelter that can help house families, like, and not a waiting list to get in, so they get evicted tonight and they have somewhere right to go, and they can check in, and they're warm and they're safe, and they can get connected to all the resources they need to take that next step,
Right.
instead of trying to sleep in their car with their kids or get money for a hotel.
Right. Tell me, I'm familiar with the high desert, but and I've worked in the high desert, but I was mainly doing reentry work. Tell me, what are the factors that contribute to homelessness in the high desert? What are the main factors?
Well, the main one is lack of availability of affordable housing. It's just, even up here where it used to be a lot less expensive to rent, even the rent up here has gone up, and people on fixed incomes, they can't afford it. The cost of living, of course, has skyrocketed tremendously. And then with a lot of our chronically homeless, there's a lot of undiagnosed and untreated mental health conditions, I think, are a big contribution.
Right, right. I think we're seeing the same in all the regions. It, I remember, I want to say probably for the last 5 or 6 years, that it's always been, when people who were struggling with housing, it's like, well, let's go to the high desert. It's cheap up there. Let's go to the high desert. But I think that as everything else has, all the prices, everything has gone up. Everything has gone up. We hope to see relief of that, soon, but it's not the place to go really anymore. If you're really looking for cheap, it's probably less than down here in some areas, but there's still barriers to getting into affordable housing, especially by this time folks have, messed up their credit, or they can't come up with that 15,000 times the rent thing.
I know, that's ridiculous.
It's like, how are you going to call it affordable, but you want them to make 3 times $2,100 a month? If they could do that, then they wouldn't have to, look for affordable. They could live where they wanted to live,
Mm-hmm.
So it's always been weird to me. What are your challenges right now in the high desert as far as homelessness outside of housing?
Well, obviously, funding and resources. So the high desert, we're kind of detached from a lot of San Bernardino County, so there's not as many resources up here as there are in other places.
Mm-hmm.
And the resources that we do have get full pretty quick.
Right.
And then just the funding, to help keep these resources going, these organizations and these providers going. They're nonprofits, so they need the funding, and
Right.
it's hard to get funding. Even though Victorville is number 2 in San Bernardino County for homelessness,
Right.
we don't get the funding like we're number 2,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Right. And I think it's a great thing that Victorville has addressed that, and with the Wellness Center, but it's not enough. It would be good if everybody had something in their city that they could, help, alleviate their homeless population from their city, but I know people who are desperate for a bed and a place to recover, and they say, I'll go to Victorville. I don't care. I'm going to tell them I'm from Victorville, but we know the way is for everybody to pitch in and take care of, who's in their borders. And then you stop the folks from running over to different cities and just, soaking up all those resources because that city happens to have more resources, or that region. So, Shannon, I really respect the fact that you are, you're a bleeding heart like me sometimes. and sometimes we want more than what we can get at the time to help ourselves, help these clients and this population. What do you want to tell the community at large? You got the whole San Bernardino County on the phone right now. What do you want to tell them at large that you need up in the high desert to help you alleviate homelessness?
Well, we definitely need people out there spreading awareness of the programs, different programs we may have up here, or even San Bernardino, that are willing to take other people. So spreading awareness of different options that are available, helping educate themselves on different programs available, attending. We have monthly Desert Regional Steering Committee meetings where a lot of the different providers and different city leaders come together every month. So coming together and being a part of those meetings to find out what other things they can do, helping volunteer to get out there, and not to judge. Don't judge. You don't ever know what somebody's going through. And homeless comes in many, many different ways. Like,
Yes.
Homeless doesn't have a specific look.
Right. I agree. We're going to go to commercial, and when we come back, we're going to close out with Shannon and find out what her quote is to inspire you all to go out and help in the high desert. And we'll be right back.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
Good evening, Inland Empire. Welcome to Working in the Margins. I'm Shazette, your host, and I'm having a great conversation with Shannon Waldron from the High Desert. She works for Family Assistance Program, and she's the program manager for the Coordinated Entry System Regional Hub. And we're going to talk about that because it's awesome work. It's an awesome program, and I want you to tell me, Shannon, how has this been going? How has the hub? Maybe explain a little bit about what the hub is, and then over the last 5 months or so, how the program has been going and what we've been able to do with it.
So we're able to tailor it more, especially separating it and having different hubs and having, people up in this region really know the area, and people like yourself that really know the region down there and have contacts to faster connect individuals to resources and to build, I think, a stronger and more robust data tracking system like we have.
Right.
Creating those spreadsheets and being very transparent about our work with Office of Homeless Services and other organizations, I think has helped. I can tell you that we have had in the desert, we've had 425 referrals just coming from 211.
Amen.
And 450 coming from, other partners, and that includes internal. So, that's a lot of people reaching out for help.
It is.
Unfortunately, I mean, we up here, we were able to shelter and or house about 30%. That seems low to us because we want, 80%, 90%, 100%. But that's actually a really good number considering, the amount of resources available. But we have something, of course, up here that San Bernardino lacks, and that's the Wellness Center that has helped make that possible.
Exactly. And I know a little bit about the CES. I manage the program down here in Central Region, and I know that we were 80 to 90% verifying new homeless on the streets. So we should be very proud of that. We have a by name list of most of the folks that are on the street that have called in for help through 211 over the last 6 months, 7 months. And that we're doing down about 20%. We were sheltering and housing them down in San Bernardino. So our numbers and from the other regions, the other hubs, our numbers together are phenomenal to the recent efforts to get, and it's important. This work is, I don't even think we knew how important it was going to be, because recently the governor has asked that the encampments be cleaned up that are on state property, and that's a lot of your parks and beaches and things like that. So we didn't even know probably at the beginning when we started this that we're able to help and identify a lot of these folks so that they can try to get help before those sweep ups take place. Who qualifies? They have to be actually homeless, and then what happens after they talk to you? So they call in, hey Shannon, I'm homeless, and then what happens after that, Shannon?
So I connect them with one of the outreach teams that we have up here. The outreach team for the Wellness Center, Simba Center. If they are suitable for the Wellness Center, I will connect them with Simba. If they are in one of the other cities, I will connect them with Inroads or our Sheriff's Hope team. Especially if they have children, I'll connect them with Sheriff's Hope team. And once they've met with them, we really work to try to either get them into the Wellness Center, maybe into some hotels with the Hope team if they have families, so we can get them connected to the KEYS program. Sometimes I am able to, they're far and few between, but I'm able to get some people into permanent supportive housing options, which is really good because those are for people, that have been diagnosed with disabilities. Generally, it's mental health. They've been chronic for a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's important that we have, we can't leave anybody out. we just don't, I always thought, hey, if you're not going on, if you don't have mental health issues before you go on the street, by the time when you're on the street and you're in survival mode like that, you're going to develop them.
Absolutely. That's 100% right. I totally agree with you.
So we have to, and I think that I'm positive, I think that our community we're moving more toward integrated health care, street outreach, community health workers, so that we can help identify these folks that have those mental health challenges and conditions that they need a different type of handshake. They need a different type of direction. We need to connect them with their medical benefits. And I remember recently I had a client that I reached out to, and they didn't want anything but new teeth, because they said that their teeth didn't fit in their mouth anymore because they had lost weight. And I said, man, I could totally relate to you, because that happened to me at one point. And for days, I just kept thinking about, I am not homeless or near homeless or at risk of homelessness. And that was huge for me, to get new teeth and that fit and I could eat and no pain. I can't imagine living on the street and having to deal with those types of things, or girls on their periods out in the streets. How do you just want a hot water bottle and a blanket and some dumb TV, but you have folks out there. Those are the conditions that I think about folks having to, that are challenged, having to live out on the streets. Shannon, you have been one of the best interviews. I hear your heart. I know you do good work. I have enjoyed meeting you and working with you, and we're going to keep writing this out. Thank you again for coming on. I appreciate you having this conversation, this important conversation with me, and your community appreciates you. I want you to know that.
Thank you. I think that you and I make a really good team.
Yeah, we do. We have a good team. We do. We have a good team. Again, thank you, Shannon. I appreciate you, and I will talk to you soon. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
Thank you. That's awesome. Boy, I enjoy talking to these folks. It's eye-awakening to me, and then I feel like, I'm commiserating with folks who have the same heart and care, and when they want to take care of people. I want to get this announcement out that Family Assistance Program is hosting its 8th annual gala on Saturday, November 2nd. This year's theme is Dia de los Muertos, a celebration of families. We're expecting about 250 people, and we're hoping to raise $75,000. All the proceeds go back into our programs, like our drop-in center and Welcome Home, our LGBTQ center. So hit me up, 909-908-8053. And next week, I will be able to chat. I'm bringing on to chat with San Bernardino City Council member Kimberly Calvin from ACOMA, a youth center service organization here in San Bernardino. And I'll be meeting with Dr. Treasure Ortiz, a San Bernardino advocate. She is a DV survivor, and she will tell me her plans for supporting other DV survivors as she runs for City Council. I look forward to my conversation with Tracy Rick and her team from Family Assistance Program. Tracy is the longtime director of the DV shelter and other life-building programs for survivors in the high desert. My quote for this week is from Michelle Obama and from Barack Obama. Michelle Obama said this week, "Do something." And Barack Obama said, "Don't boo, vote." Thank you for tuning in. Go do good work.